Greetings, everybody, and welcome back. As I mentioned last week, fall is upon us and it's starting to cool down. That means it's time for some of those good old comfort foods. Welcome back, everybody. This is Lori's Kitchen, real food for your health, and today we're going to be talking about chicken strips and chicken nuggets. Let's get started. So one of the first things that I'll do when making this particular recipe is I'll take my pork rinds and go ahead and put them in the food processor, your blender, and make my breadcrumbs out of it, if you will. So I'm going to put this in my Ninja and I'm going to go ahead and blend this down until I get this nice panko breadcrumb consistency for our chicken strips slash chicken nuggets. If I haven't mentioned this already, find the pork rinds that don't have the underlying fat for this so that you actually do have that nice fluffy breadcrumb consistency. It's also really important to find the pork rinds that are rendered in their own pork fat, if at all possible. You don't want something that's been rendered in a vegetable oil. Those polyunsaturated fats, they break down super easy in high heat and become highly inflammatory for your body. So you want to avoid that if at all possible. So a good quality or a good source of the pork rinds that have been rendered in their own pork fat is going to be great for the body. It's not going to have that inflammatory reaction. Now, normally I already have the ingredients set out, kind of speed things along and get straight to the point. But today I want to focus on this just a little bit and how important it is to make sure that you go ahead and do some of the prep work yourself sometimes, and why. Now, the recipe for the chicken strips slash chicken nuggets, I'm using a pecorino romano, or you can actually use a Parmesan cheese. Now, I've mentioned this before, and if you get this stuff pre-grated in the store, it's going to have some added stuff to it to keep it from clumping. And a lot of that is kind of like a wood pulp fiber or some other chemical anti-clumping agents, so that when you get it, it's still shredded and it's still loose for you to work with. Some of this stuff is really inflammatory to the body, and it doesn't take that long to just do some prep work yourself. Now, you could either use a hand grater. I had this gifted to me by a friend of mine, and it has been my favorite tool here. It's basically just a shredder. I cut the cheese up into a small block. I put it in here and turn the handle, and then I open this up, and out comes my shredded cheese. Nice, super simple, easy. Not a lot of hard work there. You don't have to worry about getting your fingers caught in that traditional grater, and your cheese is ready to go in no time flat. Here we have the pork rinds that we went ahead and made our breadcrumbs from. So we've got them blended. We've set them aside here. To this, I like to add a little bit of my pink sea salt. Now, I've got about a cup and a half of this in here, of the pork rinds. This is not an exact science. These seasonings are to taste. So with a lot of the stuff that I present and talk to you about, play with it. Make it your own. If you like a little bit more of something, then add it. If you don't like something, take it out and switch it out for something else. Now, I just added some garlic powder to that. And I'm going to add an Italian seasoning mix to this. And I'm going to add quite a bit of that. So we've got this put together. You don't need a lot of the salt. I do use the pink mineral salt. It's not as salty, for lack of a better way of explaining it, as, say, white table salt. So it shouldn't get too salty. But then again, you have the flavor of the pork rinds that also is going to act as a seasoning for your breading. So you keep it as simple as possible. I do like the herby, the herb flavor in my little chicken strips. So I add a little bit more of that. With that done, we're going to get ready and start coating our chicken strips, and then we're going to set them up to actually bake them. So before we go on to our next step, I almost forgot. I grated all of this wonderful cheese here just for this, so let's make sure we get that in there. And as I said, there really is no measurement. A lot of this is to taste. So if you like a lot more cheese, go for it. And if you just want a little bit, so to add some flavor to it, again, play with it. Make it your own. Don't be afraid to experiment with your food. Once you've decided whether you would like chicken strips or chicken nuggets, either way, it's going to be the same process. You're going to take your chicken and go ahead and cut it into the portion sizes that you'd like. So I'm just going to cut this into good chunks here, nice strip, so about 1/2 inch or so. And this is how I'm going to make, or the size that I will make my chicken strips. Please keep in mind when you're looking at picking up some chicken, a good organically fed chicken is going to be healthier for you. Remember, it doesn't matter, your chicken, your pork, your beef, whatever they ate, you're going to be eating as well. So keeping that in mind, when you can find an organically fed source, hopefully you can find them without the added hormones, antibiotics, things of that nature. And your label should be able to tell you that. Also, you're looking for chicken that doesn't have anything on the label but chicken, believe it or not. You can go to the grocery store and you can find something labeled all organic or something to that effect, and you go to read the ingredients and they've added carrageenan to your chicken, which is basically a filler. It's something that is also added in creams to make it thick. It's added to your chicken meat to make it nice and plump. But it's not good for you. It spikes your insulin, and it's not meant for consumption like that. So please be careful and read your labels. As you can see, I've already got our egg wash, and this is just 3 large eggs beaten very well, and I've put them in the dish here. I have the coating, which is ready to go. We've already cut up our chicken, and off to the side I have a baking sheet which I've lightly oiled with avocado oil. Now, be careful with your oils when you're putting them in the oven and baking them like this. We don't want this to stick in on the cookie sheet, but we don't want to put an oil on there that cannot take high heats. Avocado oil is one of those oils that is good for high heat cooking. Olive oils are great for very low heat or making your salad dressings or something like that with, but they don't take high heat very well. And as you cook it in the oven, as you start baking it, it's going to start denaturing, it's going to break down, and that's when you start getting stuff in your system that's inflammatory to you. So you want to be able to avoid that. We'll take our chicken, we'll put it in our egg wash here, get that nice and coated. And here comes the fun part. This is where I get all the stuff on my hands, and I will spend the next 20 or 30 minutes after I'm done with all of this trying to get my hands clean, making sure I got everything. Make sure you get that in there. You get a nice coating. See that? Beautiful. We're going to put that on the tray, and we'll grab our next piece, do our egg wash. Now I know this might seem like a lot over here, but I've got a couple of chicken breasts that I'm going to cook up, and I plan to do some meal prep this evening so that we'll have some ready to go meals in the fridge for the next 2 or 3 days. If you're into meal prepping, keep in mind You don't want to prep meals any further out than 3 days. After they've sat in the fridge for 3 days, the nutrition in them starts breaking down and you don't get the full impact of the nutrients from your food. So if you meal prep, do about 3 days at the most. And then you can always do a little bit more in the midweek to get you through the end of the week, or you can make other plans. But the bottom line is, look out for your health. You want to be able to enjoy your food and have your food work for you, not against you. Now that we have our first batch on the tray, let's go ahead and get these put into the oven. I'm also going to do a smaller batch while this is in the oven and do some chicken nuggets, and I'm going to put those in an air fryer. And you get to see both of them at the end here. So I went ahead and I did some chicken nugget. So I cut them down into smaller chunks and put them in the air fryer. So I've done the breading, just as you've seen in the video with the chicken strips. I put these in the air fryer and I'm getting ready to put those in here now. So I got that in there. I'm going to do my roast. And I'm set this one for 20 minutes. And what I like to do is do about 20 minutes on one side and then turn them over and cook it the rest of the way. So we've got that. We'll start that. And there we go. Okay, as you can see, I've already taken these out of the oven. 40 minutes total at 375, and we have nice, crispy. Again, as I've mentioned before, cooking times may vary. I am at higher elevation, so you kind of just have to play it by ear there. But these were 40 minutes at 375 in my oven here. 20 minutes in my air fryer for my chicken nuggets, and as you can see, oh my goodness, these are awesome. A little bit of hot sauce on the side, and you've got it right there. And here we have our final product. We have our chicken nuggets, which we did in the air fryer on a roast setting, which is 375 degrees for 20 minutes. And as you can see, our nuggets are done, nice golden color. We also have our chicken strips, which we did in the oven, and we did those at 375 for about 40 minutes. Real simple, not that difficult for the prep work, just getting your fingers a little gooey with the egg wash and the breadcrumbs. But other than that, they're pretty simple. Just a little bit of time in the oven. If you will have an air fryer and you don't mind using that, these are really quick. 20 minutes and they're ready to go. Only bad thing about the air fryer, you can only make them in batches of so many unless you have something really, really big. So there you go, folks. Chicken strips, chicken nuggets, using pork rinds. And there you have it, folks. Real good comfort food that you can normally get, of course, at most quick drive-through places. However, this is the healthier alternative. These are baked. They're not fried in mystery oil, and most of that stuff is not good for you. You know exactly what's going into these. If you're keto or low carb, gluten-free, no worries about the breading whatsoever because there's no gluten in this. We use the pork rinds. Seasoning is super simple, and you can go ahead and mix it up if you want. You can add some onion powder, you can add other types of herbs. As I've said, play with it, make it your own. Both of these are really good. As a matter of fact, there were more chicken nuggets than this, but we had to taste test for quality, of course, and my daughter had to get involved and try it with her famous hot sauce, which we might have to feature that one day here pretty quick. But as I said, healthy alternatives. You don't have to give up anything. You just have to find better alternatives. And with anything that you look at, please keep your health in mind. With that being said, I hope you enjoy. Give it a try. Let me know what you think. Please leave me some comments. Give me some feedback. Let me know how I'm doing. If you like what you see, subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. So, with that, we'll see you next time.